Our message to Iran is you better take this president seriously, and I think the Houthis learned that the hard way this past weekend. As I said in my opening remarks, there's a new sheriff in town, and this president is not just going to sit on his hands and allow terrorists to launch attacks on commercial vessels in U.S. naval ships.
US President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Iran, stating that Tehran will face dire consequences if the Houthi rebels backed by Iran continue their attacks on international shipping lanes in the Red Sea. The US President's comments followed a recent attack by the Houthis on a US aircraft carrier and a series of military strikes on Yemen that resulted in significant casualties. Trump's warning, posted on his Truth Social platform on Monday, was direct. Every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran. And Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences. And those consequences will be dire. The tensions escalated after the Houthis targeted the USS Harry S, Truman, which is a US aircraft carrier in the Red Sea. This attack came in retaliation after US airstrikes hit Houthi positions in Yemen, killing at least 53 people, according to the Houthi-run health ministry. These strikes were part of an ongoing US military operation in the region, which the Pentagon confirmed had struck 30 targets in Yemen since the previous Saturday. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed the growing threat, emphasizing the seriousness of the U.S. response.
Our message to Iran is you better take this president seriously, and I think the Houthis learned that the hard way this past weekend. As I said in my opening remarks, there's a new sheriff in town, and this president is not just going to sit on his hands and allow terrorists to launch attacks on commercial vessels in U.S. naval ships. Those actions will not be tolerated. We'll see you guys later at the Kennedy Center. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Caroline.
The White House has made it clear that it intends to confront Iran's destabilizing activities, especially those linked to Houthis. As part of its response to the escalating situation, the U.S. military has significantly ramped up its operations against Houthi targets in Yemen. Pentagon officials revealed that the recent airstrikes in Yemen targeted a broader array of sites than those authorized under the previous administration of President Joe Biden. Among the targets were Houthi drone manufacturers, which is an indication of the U.S. intent to degrade the group's military capabilities. U.S. Lieutenant General Alex Grynkewicz, speaking on Pentagon's recent operations, emphasized that there had been no credible indications of any civilian casualties from the strikes. In response, Iran's ambassador to United Nations, Amir Saeed Iravani, sent a letter to the UN Security Council on Monday denying any involvement in the attacks on Yemen or violations of the UN arms embargo. He called the US accusations baseless and rejected claims that Iran was engaged in any destabilizing activities in the region. The dispute over Iran's involvement in Yemen's civil war remains a contentious issue on the international stage, with Tehran maintaining that it supports the Houthis politically but denies supplying them with weapons. Meanwhile, the US and its allies argue that Iran's support is a major factor in prolonging the conflict and destabilizing the region.